Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Like a smack addict, right? And as you can tell by that thumbnail right there, yes indeedy, we're going to get straight to it. We're going to talk about the homeboys, the Gilas. Gilroy, California, garlic capital of the world. Yes indeed, salad bowl style, homie. We're talking about Gilas. And in that fashion. Now watch out. Doing time as a youth, CYA, California Youth Authority, I ran into some fucking righteous, and I mean solid, righteous ass homeboys from Gilas. And I want to say this first and foremost in a menudo style, in a fucking direct fashion. Right now, right from the gate, shout out to the homeboy and rest in peace to the homeboy Robert Aparicio, Spanky de Gilas, Barrio OSP, right? And I'm going to say this, bro. My first interactions with Spanky was in Fred C. Nellis. And I remember him rolling up and not liking him. Straight up, homie, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I didn't like the stilo. I didn't like the get down, man. I didn't like the way he carried himself. He thought he was just bigger, better, and badder than everybody that was around there, right? And you got to understand that he was coming from a different institution. He had already been incarcerated in different places up north for a while. So he thought he was that one, right? And me being how I was a little rambunctious, a little hyper, you know what I mean? A little motivated to show what I was about. I wanted to test his gangster, right? So I remember anything that he said or he tried to dictate, because the Vato tried to get in there and be like, hey, we're gonna flip it like this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. These Sureños ain't gonna tell us this. And I was like, hold on now, man. Hold up, wait a minute. You know what I mean? And I was like, where were your fucking antennas, right? When I was establishing this shit with the homeboys 6 months ago. And of course, after our little bickering back and forth and we kind of had a meeting of the minds, I seen, man, this is a fucking righteous individual. And I was totally in the wrong. It was totally me seeing something that wasn't there, right? And we hit it off. We hit it off because not only was he a good homeboy from Gilas, but he was very well educated and laced in the game. Vato had hands. Vato did his thing, you know? Very talented individual, man, from Gilas. Homeboy fucking was good at tattooing, good at drawing, you know what I mean, was sketched up, educated, was a righteous Norteño, and was moving as such. Now, the story goes with Spanky is, you know, we did our thing at Nellis, man. We got in many of melees, many of one-on-ones, many of things side by side together. You know, no one was standing behind us. You know, it was just me and him side by side and a whole bunch of other righteous Norteños, mount up. It was a cold black night. You know what I mean? We were doing our thing righteously as we had to. And best believe the Sureños when they're on the wiggleization tip too. Menudo style. There was fucking, oh yes, there was menudo everywhere, right? Motherfuckers was getting their issue on. But I always remember and I always pay him homage and always show him love and respect. And his story goes that, you know, we lost track of each other, man. He ended up going to DeWitt Nelson. I ended up going to Prestona. From there, I wiggled to Carl Holton and paroled, you know, and never to see Spanky again. And I remember one time I was with my old lady at the time and we were going out to Santa Cruz to the boardwalk. You know, we were going to take our familia out there and meet the kids, you know, a couple of my coworkers. We're all going to go out there and barbecue and do our thing on the beach. And we stopped in Gilroy on the way there, and I remember walking into the gas station, the convenience store, and seeing a newspaper, and there was the homeboy Spanky. I couldn't miss him and his brother Rocky. You know what I mean? His mascara on there, and he was wanted for a murder. And I seen him, and I told my chick I bought the newspaper. I went to the car and said, hey, man, this is my homeboy. She's like, yeah, you say you know everybody. I said, bitch, I do know everybody, right? And quietly as it's kept, you know, I started reading the article and seeing what he was on the run for. And it blew my mind. They said Spanky Aparicio, you know, Robert Aparicio, who was Salvadorian. Now, I never knew he was from El Salvador. You know, I never knew he was Salvadorian. I always thought he was a Mexicano, a Chicano. You know, I just never asked. You know, I'm sure if I would have asked, he would have told me. But it just never came up. You know, a raza is a raza to me at the end of the day. I don't give a fuck if you're from Peru, Brazil, Oaxaca. It doesn't matter. Raza is a raza to the gun. Bang, bang. So that never came up and that never mattered. He was a Norteño and that was fucking enough for me, you know, and he had hands. So Trip, story goes that the Vato ended up catching this murder beef and taking off. Fuck no, right? And in that fashion, he wiggles to El Salvador, to the motherland, to where he's from. And he was on the run. He was staying with some familia out there. And from what I heard, quiet as it's kept, word on the curb was he got him a little Halle, got him a Jaina, was doing his thing, you know. But Spanky, you know, I don't know how in the future, man, how, you know, how the tattoos went. But I remember he used to have Norte on his neck, or Norteño. And I don't know if he got spotted. He was having some willing and dealings with the MS out there, or whatever the case may be. But man, from what I heard from a righteous homeboy, and the stories come out to be facts, he got into it somewhere along the line with these MS cats, and they chopped him up with machetes, man, put him in a duffel bag, and knocked on his mother's door and left him at her doorstep. You know, that's just what it was. It's a cold game, man, that the homeboy's life had to end that way. And I always have respect for Spanky de Gilas. So I just wanted to start out the story and the history of Gilas with that, man. That was a righteous fallen soldado that fell in good standings, man. It was a righteous one, you know what I mean? Motherfuckers can't take that away from motherfucking Spanks. Orale Spanks. You know what I mean? The homie. Now, Gilas, Gilroy. Very, very known, man. Very hood orientated. Very loved within the community of the Nortenos. You know, everybody knows Gilas. Everybody knows Gilroy, man. If you ain't never did no time with no homeboys from Gilroy, you ain't never did no time. Watson, Gilas, Salas, all these little cities, Gonza, Grifas. These motherfuckers are with the business, man. And Gilroy has always been like that. The vato that's on the thumbnail, Mark Gashford, with the fucking business, you know. And that's just what it is. You know, there's a lot of audios. There's North Side Gilas, OSP, the East Side of Gilas. You know what I mean? Gilroy the wiggleization has been real with Gilroy for a long time. And they've had a lot of vatos that were in the NF. And they've had vatos that were, a lot of vatos that were bros. You know what I mean? Hermanos. I used to go fuck with the couple out there. Boxer, Night Owl from Gilas. There was a vato that was well-laced in the game for a long time. Boy from Gilas. I know the little homeboy Boy from Gilas. Monster. Cartoon. The list could go fucking on and on and on when it comes to Gilroy. And it ain't about the fucking makeup of the individuals. It's about the town as a whole. Because it's just a little hole in the wall, homie. It's just a small little town that's known for the garlic festival. You know? But quietly as it's kept, homie, them motherfuckers out there be wiggling. The vato Smokey and Turtle and shit. There's a lot of motherfuckers from out there, bro. I could sit here and name vatos all day. But at the same time, you know what I mean? What is all that about? I'm going to tell you what it's about, homie. It's about Gilas. At the end of the day, this city it has been known as small as it is to wiggle, man. Vatos are putting in work. Now, I'm not going to tell you the makeup of the barrios and how the Sureños are out there getting down and whatever the case may be, because I don't know that. But what I do know is I'm here to give love and put some respect on the name in the city of Gilas, Gilroy. You know, furthermore, I will say this. A lot of indictments have happened, man. And it seems like vatos from Gilroy are always caught up. They're always caught up. And there's a reasoning for that. These placas ain't stupid, homie. They know who's out there really moving and grooving, shaking and baking. You know what I mean? Who's out there making, they're not fucking faking it. They're just making it. They just take it home. La primera vez. You know what I mean? In that fashion. Vatos are really doing it. You know? And I could tell you, you know, firsthand information that any homeboy that I ran into from Gilroy has always been with it. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, these fools will fuck you up. They got hands and all. Charlie, bro. There were some homeboys from Gilas that used to be, so why you work? They had no hands, right? But at the same time, they'll still fucking show up and show out. They'll still fucking go behind the handball court. They'll still get down, right? Anyways, as I gravitated and I grew older, I ended up going to prison. And one of my taitas, one of my cellies was one Mr. Night Owl, the Gilroy, right? A well-known individual out of Gilroy, Gilas. And this vato laced me up on a lot of intricacies, you know, because you got to understand, when I got pulled as being an hermano, the homeboys didn't lace me up too good. They seen my potential to be a fucking killer. They seen my potential to be a hitter, okay? As a youngster, man, catching a body, and I'm not proud of it whatsoever, but they knew I had the capabilities and the audacity to go out there and really do that if I needed to, right? So they utilized that as a motivating factor to pull me to go out there and really make shit happen on the dropouts, on the degenerates, on whatever. And that's what I was all about. And that's what it was all about. Orale, you know what I mean? My whole mission, my whole life revolved around getting up in the morning and Sasuke, what DO am I going to try to hit today, right? This is what, and I had me a little crew. I put me a little crew together, some hard hitters, some heavy hitters, you know what I mean? Shout out to the real ones that know what time it was. And we were out there, Merced, making fucking shit happen. Levos, Merced, all that, bro. And everyone that knows. And if you don't know, who gives a fuck? Straight up, bang, bang. But we were doing it. We're doing the damn thing. And so at this time, man, by me getting straight into the moving and grooving of things, I wasn't able to learn the menudo style or the education on what it takes to be a Norteño Soldado and the reasoning behind why we were doing this. I was educated enough to know that I fucking wanted to be a homeboy. I was a homeboy. I was all about victory for the people. I was all about social status of equality. I knew the bonds, of course. I was learning the 7 phases and things of that nature. But I couldn't sit here and tell you that I could go on a yarda and establish it for the COC. You're supposed to be up to par as an hermano. You're supposed to be up to par with that. You got to be able to hit a yarda and establish it, establish a mesa, basically a COC, establish the household, be able to secure the homeboy, show them about security, posts. There's a lot that goes into it, get a maestro going, a building channel, AIC, overall, whatever the case may be, yard security, tier security, and that's just the way it goes. So I wasn't too up to par on that. My whole thing was, give me a pedazo or a 4 count and watch out. Get the fuck out of my way. Bang, bang, right? And I was about my business. And the homeboys, they appreciated that and they loved that for the cause. But at the same time, man, I wasn't as educated as I should have been. Still ain't. Now it doesn't matter. So I don't give a fuck. But at that time, man, that's what I was striving for, to be a well-educated and soldado. You know what I mean? Hermano or bro. And that's what I had become. But like I said, man, my education was up to par. Anyways, comes to pass, man, I hit Tracy, and one of my cellies is Night Owl. Night Owl from Gilas. And I'll never forget the vato. I get in there, yeah. Where you from, Holmes? Right? Orale, Merced, Dead End. What's cracking? He said, hey, the homeboy gangster from Dead End and the homeboy whoop-de-whoop. Yeah, we knew a few of the same individuals. I asked him about Spanky. Of course, he knew of Spanky. And we started reminiscing. I was telling him why stories. And we just kicked it off, man. We were just, we clicked. And, and I laid it down, bro. He was also an hermano. And so we were on that same level, after I got cleared and everything was good. He could tell me about the household responsibilities. Of course, he made me a tier security at that time. And he was actually the overall. He actually had the whole building, the whole pinta. And besides what homeboys were doing their thing back in K-Wing, the oil, the oil always runs the show. But the homeboy from Gilas carried some weight, man. His word was the curb. Word on the curb, motherfucker. He was the curb. He was it. So anything he said pretty much went. And he was lacing my boots, bro. He had my boots laced up. Now I can't say he gave me every fucking detail in the game, but he gave me enough to get by. You know what I mean? Hey, he put my skates on, man, and it was picturing me rolling the 500 bands. I was doing my thing, menudo, right? And I was out there like, pay no attention to the vato in the cell. I got this, putos, right? And I was, I was out there fucking like a munchkin. I represent the lollipop kids, the north in the biz. You know what it is. Orale, I was with it, right? And I'll always be gracious for that. I always have some gratitude for this vato, and then I ran into a vato named Boy. I ended up going to medical. And anyone that knows, man, when they put you in medical in Tracy, you go into it's like either a big cell or they put you in this big cage when you first get in there. And it's a big cage, like kind of like a yarda. It's in the middle of all whatever they got going on. They pull you out 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, however they do it. And I remember I was in there and he was a big ass, stocky homeboy, a little bit older, big old whip, neighborhood, right? He was over there and I was like, damn, who is this vato? And I hit him up, hey homie, where you from, right? I knew he was I knew he was active because they were not putting fucking non-actives in there, period. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know what I mean? Period. And, they would even try to get off, because they ain't trying to be up in that situation. But I remember hitting him up, hey, where you from, Holmes? And he was like, orderly, they call me fucking Boy. Big Boy from Gilas. And man, he was a righteous homeboy, man. Hey, that few minutes that I was able to pick his mind and kick it with him, this vato was laced up from the brace up. You know what I mean? He was fucking with it. You could just tell. There's some vatos you run into and they talk a good game, man. And they have that mouthpiece and whatever. But nope. You start asking them about things and it just doesn't match up. Charlie, you know what I mean? Hey, it sounds good, homie. You weren't there. You know of the story, but you don't fucking know. You weren't there, homie. You know what I mean? I know that for a fact. I could just tell by the way you're talking. But then there's some that you get there and you're just like, you know what I mean? About the spitting gang. And he knows what the fuck he's talking about because he's been in the mix. And man, he told me some stories about, back in the days in the 80s and the 90s when vatos were getting off, and a lot of anyone that knows about the Norteño movement or knows about the NF history knows that the 80s is kind of lost. The 80s is lost, and the 80s is when they were validating. They started to validate people. They started to put all the carnales, the big homies from the NF back in them oils and slam them down, right? And this is about the same time that the Northern Structure was fucking starting to get put on the map. I'm talking about the Nuestra Raza, who were labeled the Northern Structure by the administration. And so they started to implement, what they were doing on these yardas and set up shop, basically households. But But a lot of this history is lost, right? And believe me, Gilroy has a lot to do with this history because there was a lot of vatos from Gilas at the time. Salas, Gilas, all Monterey County, homie. These vatos were always with it. I fucking can't tell you why. You know what I mean? I could, hey, Sasuke, the first Norteno got there like Christopher Columbus. We didn't land on Huelga Rock. Huelga Rock landed on us. I don't know, homie, if that was fucking Plymouth Rock, pero that's where they were all from. There was a lot of fucking Nortenos from Gilas and Salas and the surrounding areas, period. You know, and everywhere else, but these ones were world renowned. When I'm saying world renowned, meaning they were well known within the collective, within the Norteño community, bro. And the reason being that these vatos had game. They had game, and they were fucking pretty hardcore with it. And, you know, I've been to Gilroy. I've been to Gilroy a few times. I went to the Garlic Festival. I actually was at the Garlic Festival when I went the day before. I don't know if you guys heard about it a couple years ago, about a year ago, when some fucking Gilas went in there and shot the place up. This is when all these fucking shootings were happening, these mass shootings. They did the Vegas one, and the schools always happen, man. Pobrecito the kids. But quietly as it kept, a couple Gilas went in there, skinheads, man, and tried to let the gente have it, the raza. And I was there the day before. You know what I mean? I think it happened on a Sunday. I was there on Saturday. I was in there like, Sasuke, the pizza with the garlic. You know what I mean? Shoot it. Bang. Fucking bang, bang. I was in there getting garliced up. Next day, they were in there getting fucking AK'd up. You know what I mean? And it's a sad situation. And I was like, damn, I was just there. And my tia was like, you wouldn't have did anything. I said, fuck no, I'd have ran. What the, you know what I mean? In that fashion. You know what I mean? I'd have hit that fucking barbed wire fence and did it moving. You know what I mean? AK-47, assault rifle. What are they? Ice Cube. But at the same time, man, I have wiggled to Gilroy, partied a few times, and did run into another individual when I was in Susanville, Smoky. And I remember he was a youngster, man. He had just got there, real light complected. Vato was fucking, he was kind of new to the game. You know, you could tell he wasn't too educated up. But just being from Gilroy, man, he was getting that love. And I remember we both got cleared immediately. You know, he got cleared, I got cleared. I wasn't at Mono at that time, so they immediately cleared me, man. But I still went through the proper protocols like you're going to do, the NAQ1s, NAQ2s, 5-on-5, whatever the case may be. Bam, we get cleared. And I remember chopping it up with him a few times on that Yarda before we got slammed down for non-conforming to MAC reps. And that's when everything took that cold twist. But we were kicking back, and I was chopping game with him, and you know, he knew a lot about the intricacies into Gilas and Gilroy, and I told him, man, I respect your guys' gangster, bro. I respect a lot of your homeboys. You know, I ran into the homeboy Rocky. He's a good motherfucker. Spanky, of course, it's nothing but love. That's a brother. You know what I mean? Like I told him about Boy, Pee Wee, just a lot of vatos, you know. And he was like, yeah, those are the big homies. And he was just a regular northerner at the time, you know. Later on, it's funny, man, after, you know, things worked out the way it worked out with my program. And later on down the line, man, I'm looking at these indictments. And like I said, several indictments happened all over Northern California. But predominantly one big one that was dealing with the Gilroy Regiment. And there he was, Smokey, like that. Looking all sad. I was like, fucking Smokey. So obviously, man, he was dealing within the regiment. He had worked his way up, you know. And I always seen it in him, man. He was a youngster that was striving. He was striving for the cause. And I wasn't mad at him, bro. Definitely wasn't mad at him. You know, do your thing, Chili Bean. But at the same time, remember, man, you know, beans get smashed. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Frijoles con chorizo. Bang, bang. Now, look. I'm not here to disrespect Gilroy in any form or fashion. If anything, I'm here to put a lot of respect on their name, because Gilroy, to me, being the surroundings, is a lot of countryside and a lot of agricultural area. You would think that the gangs are predominant there. They ain't prominent. But the fucking gangs are numerous. You know what I mean? Fucking just extensive. I mean, old history, old barrios that have been around, man. It's like you go from one city that's all nada, bro, into fucking Casa de Fruta and all that you pass. And then you go into Gilas and it's like neighborhood music. What those out there wiggling? Low riders, orale, Ben Davises. That's why I had to wear the Charlie Brown for Gilas. Orale, watcha. Rojo gang banging, right? But I just like it's clean, huh? Keep it clean, though. Utterly, you're going to see fucking crazy fucking follow the drip wearing a Charlie Brown now. Puto, right? But, Trip, you know, Gilroy, I've always had love for him. And I will say, man, that's just a little different. You know, the agriculture area will make you think and make you put your guard down. South skin, that'll be yo bad. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers in Gilroy will wiggle on your tip. You know what I mean? They'll make it happen on your head. And in a fucking, man, noodle style, in a vicious fashion. So anyways, you know, just wanted to give you guys some of the, lace you up on a little bit of things that happened with Gilas, man. I could tell you a story about the homeboy, little boy from Gilas. You know, I did tell you that I met Boy from Gilas, but then I also met, and I don't know if it was his son or even related to him. You know, a lot of Vatos have little homies, and Vatos take the same name, but they call him Little Boy from Gilas, bro. Was he ever with the business? I remember something came up and we needed him to do a removal. He was on the squad, San Francisco Giants. We named our squads after baseball teams. And he was just a bomber. He wasn't the hitter, It consisted of a hitter, two bombers, and a retriever, right? And basically the hitter would hit you, sauce, sauce, sauce. He would hand the piece off to the retriever who would go take it and wiggle with it. And then the two hitters would stay on him. So basically the retriever and the hitter would get away with the fucking movida. And the two bombers would stay on him. And of course they were going to the oil. And they didn't have no pieces, so you couldn't put no piece in the puzzle. And that's just the way that we were laced up. That's the way that these removals went. And I remember, man, that he was asked by the Casa to participate in a removal on a vato from Sacra. And Güero from Sacra, in fact. And oh, how it hurts, right? This vato stood on him, He stood on him to the point I was like, get down, you're gonna get shot, right? He stood on him, man, and that just shows you the tenacity, the voraciousness, and the dedication of these vatos from Gilas. Me and the homeboys were there like, get down, the fucking gunner was on him. He was about to tip him up in the headpiece, and eventually the homeboys did get down, man, after getting beat with the fucking batons and maced up and whatever. And that was what it was. I was never to see the homeboy again, but I just always appreciated the way that he got down for the cause and for the household, man, and I respected that. And, at the same time, man, I did a couple removals after that myself, so I know exactly the shoes that he was in, And anyways, I just wanted to give love to Gilroy Gilas, man. There it is right there. Shout out to all the vatos in Gilas. I don't know every hood, man. I remember the homeboy from OSP. That I do know. Northside Gilas, man. Stand up. The east side, it is what it is. And it's all love for Gilroy, man. Garlic capital of the world. Doing your thing. Wiggling, man. Norteño style. And for whatever Sureños are there, I don't know your hoods, man. But you guys are doing your things too. Because, hey, guess what? I'm still here, right? You're still there. So do your things. Menudo, the gun. I hope that you move fast with a purpose. That's called hustling. I almost forgot. That's my trademark saying, man. Go ahead and get yours, familia. It's all about the raza. At the end of the day, unite, because you know what it is. Business. Bang, bang. The gun.